Hi there, Dr. Debbie here, founder and CEO of the PBT Post Betrayal Transformation Institute. I wanted to come live today because there's this big misconception in how betrayal is understood. And I'm hearing from so many people who've been betrayed and hearing from so many coaches, practitioners, healers. There's this big mismatch, and I want to clear some things up. So, just to introduce myself, I'm the founder of the PBT Post Betrayal Transformation Institute and the #1 betrayal recovery certification for life, business, health, and leadership coaches. Now, betrayal is a different type of trauma that needs a different way to heal. How do I know? I did a study on it, PhD study, and that study led to 3 discoveries. First of all, you don't study something like betrayal unless you have to. So it was after my own betrayals. There wasn't a coach, a mentor, a program, and I had to get it together. So here I was, 4 kids, 6 dogs, a business, and I find myself enrolling in a PhD program, and it was honestly just to help me heal so I'd be okay for my kids and my clients. Well, that study led to 3 discoveries. So I want to share with you what those discoveries are so you're understanding, you're like, why is it that I'm struggling with betrayal? Because betrayal is very, very different than other traumas. So anyway, the first discovery, betrayal is in fact a different type of trauma that needs a different way to heal. The second, there's this collection of symptoms, physical, mental, and emotional, so common to betrayal. It's now known as post-betrayal syndrome. And the third discovery, while we can stay stuck for years, decades, a lifetime, and so many people do, if we're going to fully heal, we will move through 5 proven, predictable stages. And what's even more exciting about that is we now know what happens physically, mentally, and emotionally at every stage, and we know what it takes to move from one stage to the next. Healing is entirely predictable. But let's talk about why betrayal is different. And you have probably noticed this. Like, let's say you lose someone you love. You grieve, you're sad, you mourn the lost. Life will never be the same, right? But you don't necessarily go back and look at the relationship and start to question it and question the relationship. You don't question your ability to trust. You don't question your sanity. With betrayal, you do. And also, as it relates to betrayal, yes, the invitation is to rebuild your life, right, after the experience. But with betrayal, there's a total shattering of the self. Rejection, abandonment, belonging, confidence, worthiness, trust, they're all shattered and all have to be rebuilt. So that's a very different experience than just rebuilding your life. You have to rebuild your life and yourself. Now, if that's not enough, think about this too. With other traumas, let's say you lose someone you love, or let's say you lose all your stuff in a fire, whatever trauma, and they're all terrible, right? People rally. They're like, what do you need? How can I help? With betrayal, it's a very different experience because very often the person who's been betrayed is feeling so much shame, embarrassment, humiliation, so they're not even letting anybody know. And here it is, just like, a random Tuesday, and the kids are like, hey, what's for dinner, mom? Dad, what's going on with this or that? You're still going to work, you're still doing all the things. So life doesn't stop. It's as if you just broke your foot and here you're running a marathon. To make it even worse, very often the betrayed covers for the betrayer. Well, they're so loved by the friends, by the community. They're held in such high regard. So they don't share this, or very often, let's say it's a romantic betrayal, and let's say you have kids. Very often people don't share what's going on with the kids, so you have just had one of the most impactful, one of the most painful traumas you've ever experienced, and you are handling this all by yourself in silence without any support. Do you see how different this is? It's a very, very different experience. And so here's also what happens. We start having these physical, mental, and emotional symptoms. Now, we've tested over 100,000 people to see to what extent they're struggling. And these are symptoms of post-betrayal syndrome, but most people don't know what post-betrayal syndrome is. So you go to your doctor, your coach, your healer, your whoever to manage these stress-related symptoms. And at the root of it is this unhealed betrayal. So what happens is when we actually deal with the root cause, we heal from all of it. Like, for example, 45% of everybody betrayed has a gut issue of some kind. Crohn's, IBS, diverticulitis, whatever it is. So now you go and manage, you go to the most well-meaning, amazing gut expert, right? But at the root of it is this unhealed betrayal. Or let's say you have a weight issue. In the beginning, you can't hold food down. Later on, you're using food for comfort. 47% of everyone betrayed has a weight issue of some kind. So think about this. Now you're emotionally eating and you're struggling to diet. You're like, that's it. I have to stop this. I'm going to go on, this diet and do this new protocol or whatever. But the reason for the eating, the emotional eating, is the betrayal, you see. Or you can't sleep. So common. 68%, I believe, have this. Yeah, out of 100,000 plus people have sleep issues. So now let's say you take something to help you sleep, but at the root of it was this betrayal. Or I'll just give you like one or two more. 62% can't concentrate. So now you're trying to like get it together with concentration. Again, at the root of it is an unhealed betrayal. So when you heal from the betrayal, all the other things heal. Like imagine this is the betrayal, and you have weight issues, immune system suppression, accelerated aging, joint pain, anxiety, sleep issues. And you're taking things for all of this, but this is the problem, the betrayal, you see? So when you heal the betrayal, all the other things heal. But this is really, I want to share with you, there are these 5 stages that we move through. If we fully heal, most people get stuck in stage 3. And in stage 3, we're fine. We present as fine. And so here's the thing. Fine is infinitely better than the shock and trauma we just came from, but we build an entire life in this place of fine. That's only stage 3. Transformation doesn't even begin until stage 4, but we don't know that. So we're living in this place of fine. Fine is where you're struggling with symptoms of post-betrayal syndrome. Here's where you have repeat betrayals, because if nothing changes, and you're living this stage 3 life. So let's say you go to a coach, well-meaning, amazing coach, great tools, great processes, great frameworks. But if that coach doesn't understand the 5 stages, from betrayal to breakthrough, the research-based, proven, predictable stages, what happens is you get to a place of fine, and they look at it like, oh, okay, I guess the work is done. You both are not getting the benefit of the transformation, because from the client's perspective, they're like, maybe I just have to learn to live like this. And from, let's say, the coach or practitioner's perspective, they're like, I guess they're fine. But in your mind, in your heart, they weren't done. They weren't complete, but you didn't have the tools. You didn't have the resources. You didn't know what else to offer them. And here's the thing. Think about this from a business perspective. From a business perspective, when you're ending your client relationship at fine, they may say, like, let's say your name is Joe and you're working with client Sue. And so the testimonial may sound something like this. Joe is a good coach. He helped me with a couple of things. Okay. Now imagine you understand the 5 stages from betrayal to breakthrough. You see they're stuck in stage 3. They're fine. And you know how to gently invite them into stages 4 and 5. And now they're transformed. They've regained their health. They've regained their confidence. They've intentionally and deliberately recreated themselves. Imagine the testimonial you get now. You have to work with Joe. He is the best coach. I am absolutely transformed. No one understands this like him. Go work with him. You see? By the way, I talk all about this in Unstuck. This is my newest book. It is available for pre-release. Go to the PBT, as in post-betrayal transformation, thepbtinstitute.com/unstuck. I have all kinds of bonuses while it's in pre-release. And I talk all about the business case for working with a betrayal client and what it does for you, and what happens when you don't have the tools. Because, like I said, so now let's say you know how to move them through. Now they're transforming. You also think about how really ending the coaching relationship, you could have worked with them those extra few weeks, months, whatever. And for the most rewarding part of the experience, moving them through that transformation, which you don't have when you don't know the 5 stages, right? Or or letting them go before they're transformed. And this is no fault of yours. I know if you're in like a really good coaching program, and we are the PBT Institute certification is ICF accredited. So if you are an ICF coach, you get credits for doing our certification. Or if you're a therapist, or if you're just a practitioner, the 5 stages, it wasn't taught. You didn't know. The post-betrayal syndrome, the symptoms of post-betrayal syndrome, they're not in the DSM. They're not taught. So, but it's all research-based and proven. You could look up my research, for those of you, if that's your thing. Someone asked me the other day, is your research published? Yes, it is. If you feel like reading my dissertation, you're more than welcome to it. You can. It's on ProQuest. Anyway, so the idea is when you understand what someone says, their mannerisms, the presentation, you can assess, oh, they're in stage 2. That shock trauma, like mindset work is going to fail miserably. They need nervous system regulation. Or let's say, they're in stage 4. Well, then nervous system regulation isn't what they need. But the idea is your great tools work so much better when they're used stage appropriately. Here's the thing too. There are so many amazing coaches, counselors, practitioners, therapists who, let's say, because 4 types of trusts that are shattered in betrayal. Most people just work on 1. Can I trust the betrayer again? And that is like the last place you need to look. And here's why. Think about this. Your whole system of assessing trustworthiness is something you've created. And in your mind, if someone did something, 50 times, 100 times, whatever the amount is for you, they have shown you repeatedly, consistently, they are trustworthy. So you then deem them trustworthy and you give them that stamp of approval as it is now. You've done those things, you're trustworthy. Now that person shatters your trust. They betray you. Think about this. As terrifying as it is that this is the person you trusted the most, right? This is the person who gave you a sense of safety and security, who just took it away. This is the person you run to when other people are causing harm, has become the person causing the harm. As terrifying as that is, what's even worse? What's even worse and what's even scarier is your system for discerning fundamentally flawed and broken. You're like, oh no, I created this system for deciding who is and who isn't trustworthy. My system is broken. So how do I know? How do I know if someone is trustworthy or not? You see? So for a well-meaning therapist or counselor to say, let's start with a low stakes person. Give them something small, and we can start to rebuild trust. How do we know how to discern trustworthiness, right? Our whole system needs to be fixed, So self-trust is completely shattered. So trusting in others, trusting in the betrayer is the last place we need to look. So there's so much to it, but it's all in here. I mean, I put everything in Unstuck because there are the greatest coaches and practitioners who either a betrayal client comes your way and you don't know. So you're like, why is it that my great stuff just isn't working? Or they're likely your most resistant client. They do great work and then they fall back. And you're thinking it has something to do with they're not motivated enough or they're not putting the work in. And that's not it at all. This is a nervous system thing where, let's say they're working on confidence with you, but all of a sudden they get triggered because, if I'm confident, if I put myself out there, maybe I'll be betrayed again, right? Or, it's just, there's a safety issue. There's not the safetiness and the feeling of safety in that. So they sabotage themselves. So betrayal clients are coming from a very, very different place. But I'm sharing this for a few reasons. If you want to specialize in betrayal recovery, there is such an overwhelming need. We have a wait list of people who've been betrayed, and I'm pairing them up with certified PBT post-betrayal transformation coaches and practitioners. So that person can get the true, real support they need to move them through those 5 stages. So we don't have enough certified people, nearly enough compared to how many people have been signing up for our wait list. There's gigantic need, and we don't have, I need that part fixed. Yes, okay, and hello. So everything is on the site, thepbtinstitute.com, and /unstuck to get the book and all the bonuses that go with it. But so a few scenarios here. Let's say you are a coach, practitioner, healer of some kind. Betrayal clients are coming your way, and I want you to know how to effectively work with them, because you're either sending them off when they say they're fine, right? They're only in stage 3. Transformation hasn't even begun. You're either dreading them when you have that discovery call. You're like, oh no, I don't know if I am able to work with them. Your best stuff isn't working with these clients, and you're thinking it's you. No, it's that betrayal clients are coming from a different place. They're starting from a different place. They need something very different. And when you understand that, now you can work with them so much more effectively. Now you're known as someone who can truly, truly help someone through their transformation. And it's a game changer, not just in the level of fulfillment you feel as a coach or practitioner, but in your referrals, in the amount of clients that you get, in the testimonials that you receive, because you understand now what they truly need. It is the most misunderstood out of all of the traumas. And when we understand it, here's the other thing too. People tell you trauma's trauma. No, it's not. No, it's not. Betrayal is a very different type of trauma that needs a very different way to heal. Anyway, so it's all in Unstuck, my newest book for practitioners. And you know what people are doing too? If you're betrayed, you're reading this and you're sharing it with your coach or healer or practitioner, because when they understand the 5 stages, they can help you so much more effectively. So grab your copy of the book. Again, thepbtinstitute.com /unstuck. Put yourself on the wait list if you are struggling with an unhealed betrayal, and you want to be matched up with someone who can predictably, and I can say that because I did the research and I have the proof. If you want to work with someone who can predictably help you move through the 5 stages from betrayal to breakthrough, you're going to add yourself to the wait list. Grab the book, add yourself to the wait list, and I'll leave you with this. Betrayal is one of the most painful of the human experiences, and you can heal from all of it. It's not just reserved for some, it's for anybody willing to move through the 5 stages from betrayal to breakthrough. So I hope this helped. Grab the book, see for yourself what each stage looks like, sounds like. There's a language for each stage. Like they say, people say certain things in certain stages, but when you know, then you realize, oh my gosh, I am a good coach. I am a good therapist. I just didn't have this framework. And when you do, watch your business transform. Watch the results transform. Watch the outcomes change. And it all happens when you understand the framework. So I hope this helps. Thanks so much. I'll see you next time.